Hey folks, Twisted Christian here. Today I want to bring you another prophetic word about the Ark of the Covenant. And this prophetic word comes from Troy Black. Now, Troy Black is recently newer and he's recently come on the scene, and his channel's grown a lot in the last 6 or 7 months. And so he's been making prophetic statements over the past year, and I've gone over a few of them. But this one I found interesting because it deals with the Ark of the Covenant. And my next follow-up video after this one will be relevant to what I am saying here, because it gives some thought and intakes into another video, another prophetic word that he said. Now, over the past couple years, I've heard prophetic words concerning new archaeological discoveries, from Mark Taylor to Hank Kuhneman and even Kim Clement. In this particular video, Troy Black gives a prophetic word, and I'm just going to read just a little bit of it. Right? The link will be down below in the description. You can watch the entire thing. But what he said was, there was a vision of a cave, and then he heard, it's found, it's found, it's been hidden in the earth. Alright, so he didn't say when it was going to be found. He didn't say how it was going to be found. So I began to do some digging because, folks, we don't really realize that if they actually found the Ark of the Covenant, do you know what the profound impact on Christianity and on Judaism that it will have? And so just going back and doing a little bit of research, there was one guy who claimed that he wasn't officially an archaeologist, but his name was Ron Wyatt. You can look it up. And he claimed to have found Ark of the Covenant. This was one of the pictures that I was able to find that is supposedly the Ark of the Covenant in a cave. So when you go listen to the video and you look at this picture, it's kind of eerie because it's just like, wow, did this discovery happen a long time ago? And when you do your research on this, they basically dismissed him, told him he wasn't a real archaeologist. Well, what happened to the Ark of the Covenant that he found? Okay, and it says here that the Council of the Garden Tomb Association totally refute the claim of Wyatt to have discovered the original Ark of the Covenant or any other biblical artifacts within the boundaries of the area known as the Garden Tomb, Jerusalem. Though Wyatt was allowed to dig with his privately owned garden on a number of occasions, the last occasion being the summer of 1991, staff members of the association observed his progress and entered his excavated shaft. As far as we are aware, nothing was ever discovered to support his claims, nor have we seen any evidence of biblical artifacts or temple treasures. Archaeologist Joe Zayas of the IAA, the Israel Antiquity Authority, has stated that Ron Wyatt is neither an archaeologist nor has he ever carried out a legally licensed excavation in Israel or Jerusalem. In order to excavate, one must have to have a BA in archaeology, which he does not possess, despite his claims to the contrary. His claims fall into the category of trash, which we find in tabloids such as the National Enquirer. All right, so without getting in too much in it, it's kind of funny how instead of focusing on what he claimed he found, right? Just because if I go out and I find a dinosaur bone and they say, well, you're not a real archaeologist. Well, I'm telling you, this is where I found it. Right? They just knocked him for not having a legal license, or that he didn't go to school to become an archaeologist. So who knows what happened in that? I'm not saying that it was found already or anything like that. I just think that this whole story with Ron Wyatt sounds really shady. One of the other things that I do look for when somebody does come out with a prophetic dream or vision, and I do look to see if there is anybody else that has had something similar, shown something similar. And just doing a basic search, I didn't find anything yet. But if I do find something, I will update you in a video. We should be hearing some news on this particular event, whether it happens this year or next year or the year after. I don't look for microwave prophecies when somebody makes a prophecy and then I expect it to happen within the next week or the next month. Unless they have made it specific, then I'm watching. And this is the implications of the Ark of the Covenant. If they were to ever find the Ark of the Covenant and release and say, we have found the Ark of the Covenant, the implications on a worldwide basis would be profound across all regions, all religions. And it's going to bring a biblical truth concerning the implications with Christianity. You know, it would be something to have a major discovery like that is going to bring a lot of faith to a lot of people. I think that when that ark is revealed, a lot of churches have gone off the path in the last 20 years. A lot of churches, and they're doing all kind of weird things in the church. It's going to help define biblical truth, because when you find certain artifacts that prove something, then you have to say either you believe it or you don't. If they find the Ark of the Covenant, and people are going to say, well, you know, it was just a story in the Bible. Even if they find it, it's just a story, and yeah, maybe there was something that looked like the Ark of the Covenant, but it wasn't this whole big powerful thing. And if you guys remember Indiana Jones, right, and the Ark of the Covenant and what happened when they opened the Ark of the Covenant, and I may get into that a little bit later, because I think the Ark of the Covenant, if the Ark of the Covenant is going to be an important part of the end times. But going back to the implications for Christianity is going to be huge. It's going to be a confirming of their faith. And that goes the same with the Jewish people, that it will also to confirm their faith. And it's going to reveal to the Jewish people and to the state of Israel everything that they already know, everything that they believe. And it's going to embolden them like you never seen before. And this is what I mean. The Ark of the Covenant is going to give a lot of people faith across Judaism and Christianity. In Judaism, they're still waiting for the Messiah. And if they announce they have the Ark of the Covenant, how fast do you think that the third temple will go up? They have the money. They have the plans. I've seen the documentaries and the videos on the plan for the third temple. And how will it affect the Muslim community? If they want to put the third temple where the Temple Mount is, if they want to put it on that direct spot, if that's even the real location, some people say it's further south of it, I believe. How's that going to impact them? Because now, the state of Israel, the Jewish people in Israel, want to build the third temple. And they want to put the Ark of the Covenant in this temple. But there's only one thing that stands in their way, right? If that's the location. But I think it's also going to embolden the state of Israel concerning the current events that we're in right now when it concerns Iran and Syria and Russia and China and all the forces that surround Israel. And the other important thing that I want to bring up, folks, if they announce the finding of the Ark of the Covenant, we are so much closer to the coming of Jesus Christ than ever because of the third temple. If you see the third temple going up, being built after the Ark of the Covenant has been found, and they begin to build a third temple, folks, that should be one of the biggest signs ever concerning biblical prophecy. Some say, well, they won't start building the third temple until after the rapture. We don't know that. But I'm telling you now, folks, that if in the next year or two, if there is an announcement that they found the ark, I guarantee it will be a short time after that they're going to find a way to build the temple where the dome is, or they're going to put the temple somewhere else where they think where it might have been in the past. And this is the reason why I bring these to you guys, so you can hear these little things that 99% of all Christians aren't going to hear right now at this moment. It's going to be huge and significant, and it's going to embolden the Jewish people. It's going to embolden Christians. It's going to embolden the state of Israel. I mean, one of the things that I am, if this was to ever come out, that the Ark of the Covenant was found, I just want to know how the Muslim community over in the Middle East is going to respond to that. Embolden Israel and a right to claim, right? That's what basically the land, the right to claim. You find the Ark of the Covenant, that's going to embolden the state of Israel even more to claim of that belongs to the Jewish people. Sometimes I wonder, I think about that when I watch the Indiana Jones and the Ark of the Covenant, and I wonder that when these events happen, does the Antichrist open the Ark of the Covenant? And one of the things that I am interested in seeing, because like in the book of Revelation, we see the opening of the seals, right? We see the 10 bowl judgments, right? And I just kind of wonder, I wonder if that has anything to do with the Ark of the Covenant. It doesn't. There's nothing in Scripture right now that I could find that does deal with the Ark of the Covenant at least in the end times. But I wonder that if it will have an impact in that, because, well, of course, if they build a third temple, well, guess what? The Antichrist will walk into the third temple and declare himself God. So what does that have to do with the Ark of the Covenant? And maybe at some point, they think that the Ark of the Covenant is going to save them, kind of like back in the biblical days, right? When the enemy got a hold of the Ark of the Covenant and they took it back, and they had all these problems and all these issues, and they gave it back to the Jews. One of the other thoughts is, will the Antichrist try to open it up if it's actually there, right? And will that bring the plagues, more plagues upon the earth? Right, remember in Indiana Jones when they opened it up and the people were all burning up and all kind of stuff was happening when they opened it up. And remember in the Bible, if you touch it, you die. Right? Remember in the Bible, you weren't supposed to touch it. So that would be another confirmation too. So that's the interesting thing is, will the Antichrist open it up? If it's in the temple, will you touch it? Because what happens according to the Bible when people actually touch it. Even by accident, they fall to their death. And maybe this is some kind of catalyst that people think that he is God, because maybe people have died touching this thing. So anyways, folks, I just wanted to bring this out to you guys. I think it's a really interesting subject. And guys, if you like these videos that I make and the things that I do, the links to support are down below in the description. And I thank you guys for those who have supported me in this. It helps me, it encourages me, and it keeps me moving forward in making these videos. So anyways, folks, I thank you for listening. God bless.